Hello lads, Chad here. Welcome to my place where Sigma male and female belong. Today's Sigma is Harry from The Hotspot, released in 1990. Like and subscribe to Chad and become a Sigma. Spoilers ahead, watch out. The movie begins with a car salesman who doesn't like his job named Harry. The owner of the dealership where Harry works named George doesn't like Harry much. But he can't say anything to Harry because he's selling more cars than the others. One day, George instructs Frank to accompany a new salesgirl. It knows that she recently sold a car to a man named Frank, who has not paid her for quite some time. So, George instructs her to go fetch the money or take his car. Harry refuses because his schedule is full, but when he sees the new salesgirl named Gloria, he agrees. They then make their way to Frank's house. Frank, on the other hand, is not at home. They also discover that Frank is impoverished and has nothing with which they can take. While they're on their way back, Frank arrives and speaks rudely to Gloria. Frank takes his shotgun and declares that he will not give up the car or the money. Harry pulls over to the side of the road on the way to the dealership. He admires Gloria's beauty and stares at her intently. He then kisses Gloria. Suddenly, Gloria admits to Harry that Frank is her relative. George asks about the car when they arrive at the office. But, in order to save Gloria, Harry informs her that Frank didn't give her the car, but rather a monthly payment. Gloria thanks Harry for saving her. One day, Dolly, George's wife, visits the dealership. She meets Harry and immediately begins to flirt with him. She asks Harry to get in her car. Harry asks why and Dolly explains she wants Harry to help her with something. The next day, Dolly calls the office and Harry answers the call. She asks for another little help and tells Harry to come to the house. When Harry arrives at her house, Dolly starts flirting and teases him. Harry, who couldn't resist, starts kissing her. But Dolly changes her mind, calls him bad boy, then asks him to leave. The next night, Harry comes back silently to her house. Knowing George isn't home, he goes straight to her bedroom. Dolly aims a gun to him, but slowly she starts unzip his pants. You know what happens next, lads. Dolly, who can't forget Harry, comes to see him again. She spreads her leg and starts teasing him. They ended making love in the dealership car. One day, Harry comes up with a plan to rob a bank. He places the clock in the warehouse building across the bank. When the clock is ringing, it will catch fire. His plan succeeds, and the warehouse catches fire. People begin to form a crowd to assist in extinguishing the fire, including all bank employees, leaving the bank's manager outside. Harry takes advantage of the opportunity to enter the bank through the back door. Harry goes to the restroom and turns the water tap. The manager walks to the restroom when he hears the sound of water gushing. Harry strikes and handcuffs the bank manager. He then robs all the money. A man appears just as Harry is about to leave. Fortunately for Harry, that man is blind. After placing his money in car trunk, he assists the people in extinguishing the fire. Then he notices a person trapped inside the building. Harry rushes to the building and saves that person's life. When the bank was stolen, Harry had a plan to use this alibi to establish that he was putting out the fire and saving that person's life. No one would suspect him because of it. After that, he goes to the private place and buries the stolen money. He had an affair with his boss's wife, succeeded in robbing a bank, and is now in a relationship with Gloria, who has nearly 20 years apart in age with Harry. This man is a Sigma. Harry drops off Gloria at her house and she kisses him. Gloria then goes inside her house. Suddenly, the sheriff appears and takes him to the station. The sheriffs begin questioning him about the robbery at the bank. Suddenly, the blind man arrives. He recognizes Harry's voice. Because of this, Harry has been apprehended and is being held in custody by the sheriffs. They got a call from George shortly after that, saying that Dolly hadn't seen Harry on the bank but driving out with her before the building was on fire. As a result of this testimony, the sheriffs decided to let Harry go. Dolly calls Harry and asks something from him in exchange for the help. She invites Harry to come to a shore lake. After that, Dolly brings Harry to the cottage. Dolly tells Harry to kill her husband, but Harry refuses and prepares to flee. However, Dolly teases him back, and he couldn't refuse it, so he agrees. When Harry and Gloria go out on a date, Gloria confesses to have a forbidden relationship with a woman in the past. Frank had quietly taken some personal photos of Gloria and that woman. He blackmails Gloria with the photos and demands money. That night, Harry goes to Frank's house, but he is not there. A few minutes later, Frank returns home. Harry begins to asking him about the photos. They got into a fight, and Frank beats him. After that, he meets Dolly. Dolly claims that she is aware of his relationship with Gloria. Dolly, who is jealous, knows that Harry will not kill her husband. She leaves with enraged. Dolly then comes up with the plan to kill her husband herself. To get intimate, Dolly lays him on a bed. After that, he bonds his arms and legs. Dolly was well aware that her husband had a heart condition. So, she begins to make love to George for hours on end, pumping his heart. He dies of a heart attack, and no one is ever charged with his assassination. Even after Harry beat Frank, he still blackmails Gloria. Harry sees his act. Harry goes back to Frank's house, and this time he does not hold his power. He beats Frank like crazy and accidentally shoots him dead. To get away, he makes it look like Frank shooting himself. He also tells the sheriff that the poor Frank had purchased a new car from a dealership. He somehow shows that Frank was the mastermind behind the bank robbery, and in exchange, the sheriff awards Harry a $25,000 reward. Then, he proposes Gloria. Gloria agrees, and they both decide to move to a Caribbean island after they're getting married. Harry receives a call from Dolly. Dolly informs Harry that George has died. Harry, who doesn't seem to care, hangs up the phone. She then calls Gloria. Gloria informs Harry that she wants to go to Dolly's house to comfort her. Gloria persists on doing it, even though Harry believes it's not a good idea. Dolly begins to cry as soon as they arrive. Harry becomes nauseous when he learns about her deception. She then gives a letter to Harry. All of Harry's crimes are detailed in the letter. She blackmails Gloria into leaving Harry, threatening to disclose all of his crimes to the sheriff if she doesn't. Gloria makes the decision to leave. Then Harry tries to kill her, but he changes his mind. Harry has no choice but to spend the rest of his life with Dolly. Sad for Harry, he is a Sigma male until he breaks the first rule of Sigma male, which is, don't be a simp. Time's up, lads. A Sigma will like and subscribe. Chad out.